Hello everyone and welcome to Technology Triumph's Open Day for Level 1 and Level 2 Creative Craft Textiles. I hope you are all well today. You are joining Jo and Pip today. So Pip, if you don't already know, is our founding manager and director, the head honcho, if you will, and I myself am Jo, social media support, and today we will be looking at our Textiles Level 1 and Level 2 course, what's covered in the course, the equipment needs, pricing, how to enrol, and taking any questions that you might have as well. So if you've got any questions, please do pop them in the comments box and we will answer them as soon as possible. And we've already got a good afternoon from Chrissy. Good afternoon, Chrissy. I hope you are well. Thank you for joining us today. So let's get started. I think we're coming back onto screen just so that you can see our faces and get to know who we are in case you haven't met us before.
Yeah. 1 second. Sorry, that's me pressing the wrong buttons. I'm back in. There we go. There we go.
Hello, everybody.
All right. So yeah, go and carry ahead, Jo.
Yeah, so here at Technology Triumphs, what are we all about? Well, we are basically all about providing home-based learners access to creative qualifications that are either really difficult for them to access as home educated or educated other than at school learners, or we also are freely open to anybody who may also actually be at school and simply isn't able to access these qualifications or these lessons within the school environment. So a lot of schools, unfortunately, are tight on time, shall we say, to teach the creative subjects. And so learners are left with, you know, one choice where they'd really like to do 2 or 3. So we are freely open to those learners as well who want to do this alongside their schooling as well. And these are alternatives to GCSEs. So we are working with the provider NCFE for all of our qualifications, and we've been doing that since 2009, and we are wholly online. There is no in-person classes or online classes, or even better, no exams to attend either, which I think is the winning thing when it comes to accessing qualifications, especially for home educated learners, is not having to pay for sitting expensive exams and having to travel and all the anxiety that goes with exams as well. So that's who we are. I myself am a home educator and Pip is a home educator as well.
Yep, I was just going to clarify something there. You mentioned 2009, Jo, just to say it does sound
2019.
2019, yeah, we lost a decade there. So yes, as Jo said, we both home educate, so we are very much a part of the community and like to feel that we understand a lot of the obstacles and challenges that come with the very rewarding, satisfying job of being able to home ed. So it's very much a part of our courses, our provisions, the way we've designed them to be able to help you in the way that we know we would want that help. So just to explain or just summarize our course ethos and really our company ethos, and this will become apparent as we explain how it works and the support you'll get and the additional things we put in place to help you beyond what other providers might do. So we want to offer a fully immersive qualifications and courses that are completely flexible. That's a key word that comes up time and time again. And there's lots of ways that we offer flexibility, whether it's within the way that you pay or whether the way that your learner actually accesses the learning or completes or evidences the learning as well. We want to build confidence and resilience in learners. This isn't just about getting a piece of paper at the end of it all, although that is quite handy and it might help with next steps. We want to actually help the learners build a portfolio. So we're very skills focused that will help them perhaps with next steps, not just in securing that piece of paper that opens the door, but in enabling them and giving the tools and the skills they need to open the doors and to become really successful in that industry or that career path that they might be venturing towards. We would like to be as adaptive as possible, and we seek out new ways all the time that we can adapt make adaptations for individual learners. So yes, we do things and we design things to be flexible, but that's not all. If you've got a learner that's got very specific needs, we want our courses to be as accessible to them as possible. So if you have any personal challenges, or your learner has any personal challenges and you can't find a way around it, we don't want you to struggle on your own. We actually really, really enjoy that part of our job in terms of being able to help individuals. This isn't about numbers. It's not like in a school setting where, you know, it's an average of what everybody gets at the end of the year that matters. We care about each individual, making sure that they fulfill their potential, and that we've done everything we possibly can do to help them fulfill their potential. I've seen a couple of comments come in from Chrissy, so I'm just going to add to that on there. The no exams are so good for us. My son, who signed up to the Textiles, isn't able to do exams due to SEND. This course means he can still get the qualifications. This is exactly it. I mean, exams are a huge barrier to so many people, even without the SEND. Like, I really struggled with exams, and I think in particular with creative qualifications, it's just nonsensical. It doesn't make sense to us when you're trying to build a portfolio and develop practical skills and knowledge. The ability to be able to regurgitate memorized facts doesn't necessarily make you a creative person. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be great in your craft. So that's why we have made sure we've got specifications that don't have exams and that are portfolio assessed. It doesn't make sense for creative subjects anyway, and it also becomes exclusive to a lot of learners. So we're all about inclusivity, which is why we've gone with a portfolio assessed specification. So I'm just going to change the slide. So we can work, or you can work, anywhere online from anywhere in the world. We've actually got learners from 14 different countries at the moment, and that's because all of the provisions have been designed for you to be able to access remotely and completely online. So there's no classes, no exams to attend. You work at your own pace and in your own time from whenever you are. And when we say at your own pace and your own time, we really do mean that. Now, just to clear something up, on the booking system, when you book, it does highlight a day of the week and a time of the day for a class. You completely disregard that. We do not have times a day that you have to work to. That is just an automated thing on that national booking system. So if you want to work on a Saturday night at midnight, that is entirely up to you. It makes no odds to us, and that's because of the way the course has been designed for you to be able to do that. So with our fillable PDF documents, there is no need to print out. You can, of course, want to if that works for your learner. They have been designed for you to complete completely online and electronically. So they're designed to save paper and ink. And what that means is we were able to design very colourful, engaging workbooks that draw the learners in rather than black and white, just wordy documents. Within the PDF workbooks, you'll also have links to pre-filmed tutorials that you can watch whenever it suits you. And you can pause it or re-watch it if you need to as well, which removes the pressure from the learners. They don't have to keep up with other peers in their group. They can work, like we keep saying, completely at their own pace. It's all delivered through our online learning portal, which is something that we have collaborated with the awarding body on. So it's actually their learning portal that they use with colleges and schools and apprenticeships, which you're given a username and password. So after you've booked, once your first payment is taken the month before your course starts, you are given a unique login that gives you full access to the course. Once you've completed your work, you upload your completed submissions and you have direct contact through your assigned assessor through that portal as well. So in terms of assessment, as we've said, no exams. That was really important to us. And maybe even more importantly, no deadlines. So as well as being able to work through on your own timeline and time frame in terms of week by week, we don't set an end point for you to have to complete. So we believe that these are some of the most flexible courses available to young learners, especially for home educated or not at mainstream schools. You complete the workbooks, you capture photographic evidence and occasionally video evidence, which is compiled into what we call a photo gallery. It effectively becomes like an electronic portfolio. And then when your work is completed, you just upload your workbook and photo gallery, and your assigned assessor completes their assessment and sends the feedback back to each learner. We don't assess spelling, punctuation or grammar. All that matters is that we can follow the information presented. So for anyone whose strong suit isn't spelling, such as myself, this might really appeal to you. So again, we have this all over our marketing. A lot of our team and our learners are neurodiverse. I'm dyslexic myself. So it was important that we catered for learners that aren't perhaps necessarily being catered for in that way elsewhere. So no spelling and grammar. It is really about, does the learner hold the knowledge and skills? Have they evidenced that to us in some way? Yes, then that's fine. And although we talk about assessment, we don't call it a pass or fail course. We call it a pass or not yet passed course. So again, because there's no deadlines, if your learner just hasn't passed a particular unit or workbook, they just get the feedback and guidance from their assessor, guiding them with what they need to do to improve it and get it over the threshold. And there's no time limit or even restrictions on how many times they do that. So they can keep handing the work in until it gets to a pass. Chris has just added another questions or comments. I'm just going to add that on, because he says, I love how you can type into the document instead of having to handwrite answers. Great for my son who struggles with writing due to hypermobility. Yeah, really good point, Chrissy, actually. So as we said, they're electronic documents designed for you to click onto and type your responses, which, yes, very handy. My son as well has hypermobility issues. And obviously as well, if you've got corrections to do and you just want to change a couple of lines, having to rewrite a whole thing by hand is very labour intensive and doesn't really add any value. So they are designed for you to type onto. Nothing, we don't expect you to handwrite at all. And you are, of course, free to do that if that's what your preference, but the course is designed for you to type on and do it that way.
Yeah.
I'm just going to, sorry, I got all muddled my words then. I'm just going to change the slideshow. So course explanation. So we're going to talk about the differences. Well, we'll show you the level 1 textiles first and then the level 2, but as an overview so you can understand what they are worth. This is obviously a big question that comes up for a lot of people. So the level 1 is an award in creative craft, in brackets textiles. So on your NCFE certificate, when you completed the course, that's what it will actually say. Level 1 award in creative craft, in brackets textiles. Now it has a credit value of 9. If this is all new information to you, don't worry, I'm going to try and break it down very simply as to what that actually means. So it's a level 1 qualification. When we talk about the levels, as in level
I think Pip
1 level difficulty of that qualification. So 3. Am I back?
You are back now, yeah. Just a little glitch.
Sorry. I'll just repeat that last line. So a level 1 qualification is in line with a GCSE grade 1 to 3 or old school D to G, same as a bronze arts award. So that's talking about the difficulty of the qualification. A 9, the credit value references how big the qualification is. So in comparison, a bronze arts award is worth 6 credits. So this is a larger qualification. And what that means is how many hours has been spent completing the course. And for 1 credit relates to 10 hours worth of content. So these qualifications, the level 1 is worth 90 hours of content. In terms of what the content is, it's about a 50-50 split between practical work and theory work. It says on the slide written work, but really it's not so much the written aspect, it's the theory and the knowledge that you have to build as well as the practical skills. There are no age restrictions, no minimum or no maximum ages. We can give guidance ages, which we do for our level 1 qualifications. And this is based on reading comprehension. So I'm not going to say you should be age 10 and above to access a level 1, because actually you could be 9 and have a reading and comprehension age of a lot older. So I would give a guidance age of a reading and comprehension age of 10 plus to access the level 1 courses. Does that make sense so far?
Yep, that all makes sense to me.
Cool. I'm going to move on then.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to have a little look at exactly what you cover in the level 1. So textiles level 1. We make no presumption that your learner knows anything about textile crafts at this stage. So we really start from the very beginning. So we will go through stitching and applique techniques and embroidery, and really introduce them basically to the world of textiles, materials, and the health and safety aspects that they will need to know about as they move forward. And then for workbook 2, we then move on to creating some products effectively. So you work on a felt decoration, learners create a needle book, and also some textile cards as well, which we think is a really nice alternative in terms of textiles. So it's not solely, we're not solely focusing on creating clothing, for example. We're really digging into the world of textiles overall. And then as we move on to workbook 3, we get more into applique. And then we look at stenciling, tie-dye, and upcycling creations as well. And then underneath where you've got these tasks written in bold, those are the practical things that your learner will be doing. And then what's written underneath there is what Pip was talking about when it came to the written work and the theoretical stuff. So that's what they'll be learning about as well within that workbook. And then we move on to what we call the minor project when we get to workbooks 4 and 5. So it's split into 2 parts. And the minor project is really something that allows learners to just explore their own desires in terms of creativity. So what they're really into, they can explore here. We give a set of themes that they can explore, and they're able to create a number of different products that they can choose, and they can choose whichever techniques they use for this, and they go through a smaller design cycle of how to design a product, how to get feedback on it, and develop it as they move forward. And then in the workbook 5, that's kind of where we go through the construction of the item, a testing, and their final evaluation of that piece as well. And then as you move forward in level 1, we then go on to their major project. So this is bigger than the minor project, but it's a more sustained project, mirrors the minor project, but you just go sort of bigger and deeper into it as well. So you go through the whole design cycle in terms of research, planning, deciding on an item that you want to make from a selection of themes that we offer, or because we believe in flexibility and allowing learners to be as creative as they want to, if you have got a theme, or your learner has got a theme, I should say, that they really want to explore instead, they can simply touch base with their assessor and say, I'm really into this certain topic. Can I do that as my theme instead? And I don't think we've ever said no to any theme that anyone has ever suggested. So this is a sustained project that covers the remaining workbooks. So workbooks 6 to 10 will cover the design cycle and the creation. And then workbook 11 is a evaluation-based workbook. So they'll go through collecting feedback from others, suggesting ways in which they could improve their product if they were to do it again, and learning how to present their product as well for viewing as well. And then that rounds up our level 1 workbooks. And we just have some examples of some of the things that level 1 learners are able to do. So we've chosen some pieces from the early workbooks as well as the latter workbooks as well. So you can see that learners experiment with learning different stitching types on different materials. There's some lovely research that one of our learners did as well. This was her portfolio she created, and she really got absorbed in the research side of things. So she was really able to go into that. And then we have this wonderful pencil roll, I think they're called, that one of our learners created as well, which is a really cute product that they made in the earlier part of their course as well. So if you've got any questions about what we do in level 1, please do feel free to drop them in the comments box, and we'll pick up any of those questions if you've got anything. And then we will cover our level 2.
Yes, so level 2, which if you are looking for specifically for GCSE alternative qualifications, if you've perhaps been trying to find a DT GCSE, you probably know that it's almost impossible to do as a home educated or an EOTAS learners. There may be 1 or 2 providers. I know for cookery, there are 1 or 2 providers. I've not yet found one as a DT alternative provision. It's very tricky to do, which is why we put these in place, because it was missing for home ed learners, and we wanted to give everybody the same opportunities. So the level 2 certificate, sorry, there's a slight typo on that screen. It should say level 2 certificate in creative craft in textiles. This puts it in line with a GCSE grade 4 to 9 in terms of complexity, remember, or GCSE grade A star to C, in line with the Silver Arts Award in terms of how in depth you go with the knowledge and the practical skills. But the credit value, so how big a qualification it is 15, so that equates to 150 hours. Now compare that to a standard GCSE at a pass rate. A standard GCSE at A star to C or 4 to 9 is generally considered to be worth 12 to 14 credits. And so the fact that it's worth 15 credits is what makes it really helpful for learners who are trying to use it as a GCSE alternative, perhaps to gain access to college. And just to briefly say, obviously, because we've been around for a few years now, we have a track record. We've had learners pass through us, go on to college, and have been able to confidently report back that not only did they get into college with this in place of a GCSE, that once they were in their college, they were actually working above their peers who had GCSEs in DT. So the quality, that's not necessarily just the qualification, that's the course we've written and the way we've written it. We've purposely written it to enable learners to really broaden their depth of knowledge and to go into a college or university setting maybe one day with the skills and those independent working skills that they perhaps wouldn't necessarily be as encouraged or able to explore as much in a school setting. So that's how it works. In terms of the difference between the level 1 and level 2 on the content, you still have about a 50-50 split between the written work or the theory work against the practical work. Once again, there's no age restrictions. However, it's a guidance age in terms of reading comprehension. I would set a guidance age of 13 plus. Now, the main reason for this is, one, the subject theory knowledge goes into a lot more depth. So where in level 1 your learner might be asked to list a range of safety precautions, in level 2 as a comparison, not only would you need to list them, you'd need to be able to explain why that is a safety precaution, and you'd need to be able to give summarizations of what could happen if you didn't follow that safety precaution. So you would just go a lot more in depth in it. Now, the other big difference between it, other than the content and the amount of work, is that there is a whole unit that we call the business enterprise unit on all our level 2 qualifications at the moment, and it's effectively crosses over into business studies. So throughout your course, and Jo will be covering this a little bit more, there is a business enterprise unit which is a little bit more written content heavy, but it makes sense to have that as a part of the qualification, because it's starting to get the learner to think about how they would actually make a living from their craft and how they could market their own products, all those sort of things. I won't take away from Jo too much because she's going to talk about this in a second. I can see another question's coming, so I'm just going to add that in. If my son successfully passes the level 1, is he able to do the level 2 after? Absolutely. So just on that vein, you don't have to have done the level 1 before you do the level 2. So if you think your learner is ready for the level 2, they can jump straight to it. So if you've already started the level 1 and you want to switch, we can do that. We can accommodate that. Absolutely. If you've completed the level 1 and you love it and you really want to pursue that textiles vein, then absolutely, we just pop you onto the level 2 and you start that payment plan for the level 2. So yeah, I mean, that's the idea, is that actually we want to take learners through that learning journey. We want them to follow their passion in terms of their subject area and be able to get as high a qualification as possible remotely at online learning, perhaps with a view to study at further education or to take it on as a career choice as well. Just take that out. So Jo is now going to tell you a bit more about the actual workbooks.
Yeah, so for level 2, the workbooks that we have, same number of workbooks again, and it follows the same kind of theme with the earlier workbooks looking at different techniques and styles and things like that, and then moving into the minor and the major project as well. So for workbook 1, I'm going to be introducing learners to sewing machines and the stitches that they can use with their sewing machine, and as well as skills like inserting zips and buttonholes, and they create a pencil case or wash bag in their practical as well. And within that, they'll be learning about health and safety, the tools and equipment, because obviously this will differ now that they've moved on to using a sewing machine. Workbook 2 is all about how to add to your textiles and your fabrics. So looking at mark making, about how to add colour, so looking at dyes and natural dyes and things like that. creating textile art, which again is probably not something that people would necessarily assume you would cover in a textiles course. Some people might think that it's all going to be fashion design and things like that, but it actually goes into so much more. And we'll also be covering machine embroidery as well, learning how to create mood boards and how to complete artist research and develop different textiles techniques. Workbook 3, we then go into applique techniques in a bit more depth than you would have done in level 1. And we look at creating children's clothing as well. And again, we cover all of those aspects like mood board and research, take learners through how to complete a shop and product report, and how to start thinking about design ideas. And then the minor project is again split into 2 parts across workbooks 4 and 5. And here learners are able to pick a specialist area of interest within the theme of the natural world. And here you can honestly create any textiles item that you want to. So some of the ones that previous learners have completed have included costume design. We've had interior design skills come into it, creating homewares, printmaking, textiles art, dressmaking. There's been cosplay, all those kind of things. So learners can really go into whatever specialist area within textiles that they would like to explore. And then in the workbook 5 for that one, they'll go through having created the item, testing it, it's gone through evaluation and then presentation as well. And then we move on to the major products. So Pip covered this in some detail as well. Here is where it differs quite significantly from level 1, because we do add in that business enterprise unit. So the major project is again a sustained project, where we work through the entire design cycle, and everything that they have learned up to this point they use in this project. So they'll go through the whole design cycle, how to plan their designs and make a final item. And then within the business unit that runs alongside this, they'll cover all sorts of aspects come into business studies. So product sales, how to market, how to cost their item, what kind of employment opportunities there are available for them when they complete their time in education. And they end with a kind of Dragon's Den style presentation for how to get other businesses to invest in them so that they could make this mock business that they've created a real success. And we have had a number of learners who have been using this, who have completed this course with us, who have then gone on to study at college. And we've had feedback from them when they went to their college interviews that the admissions department have actually been really impressed by the fact that learners have done these 2 things together. So not only creating that major project and that final item, which they're often used to seeing within craft courses and qualifications, but also doing that business studies unit alongside it as well. They've been really impressed with what our learners have been able to achieve. And here is just some examples of some of the creations that our level 2 learners have created. I think you will probably agree that these are absolutely gorgeous, and the skills that go into creating these things are incredible. So we have this wonderful, this was a costume that was designed for a dance student, and she did hers all based on insects and butterflies and pollinators. And then we have some wonderful embroidery that was undertaken as well, and a gorgeous corset. If anyone has ever looked at how corsets are constructed, they are mind-boggling. So the fact that we had one of our learners create one of these is absolutely phenomenal. And we had a little comment from Chrissy come in to say, this is amazing. I'm blown away by it all. We are blown away by it all as well. When it comes to the assessors looking at the work that our learners produce, both level 1 and level 2, honestly amazed constantly. So well done to any of those learners who are also watching us as well. So we will move on, and we will now just look quickly at the Oh, we've had another question as well. What's needed for the Dragon's Den presentation? I have a very shy, anxious learner who would more than struggle to do that. We completely understand, Lindsay. We are able to make a number of accommodations for any learners who struggle with anxiety, who struggle with being on camera. We do this on a individualized basis. So you can just reach out to the assessors and we will gladly go through with you how the learner can achieve the assessment objectives that are covered within the presentation, but do it in a way that is comfortable for that learner as well. So let's look at the equipment now. So oftentimes when people enroll in courses, it all sounds amazing and the price feels good and things like that. And then you get this big long list of equipment that you have to buy to go alongside it, and it suddenly becomes super expensive. So we try to avoid that as much as possible. So these are a list of some of the things that you will need access to. You don't necessarily need to go out and purchase it, but you just need to be able to have it to use when you are working on your course. So you will need a laptop, tablet or PC, something that enables you to view those workbooks and complete them as well. You'll need a camera. A phone camera is absolutely perfect because you'll need to be capturing photo evidence, and general sewing and textiles equipment like needles, thread, haberdashery items, fabric dye and paints, things like that are all going to be required throughout both courses. In level 2, you will need access to a sewing machine. You do not need it for level 1. There's absolutely no need to have one. You can complete level 1 with hand stitching methods only, and it's actually specifically designed in that way. And when you enroll, you also have, well, actually, I should say before you enroll as well, we do have available a more in-depth equipment list as well. We are happy to provide, or if you are in one of our closed community groups, you will find that in the photos and files section as well. And we also suggest that you have yourself a sketchbook, fabric, an embroidery hoop, an iron, and also a cutting board are really useful as well, and some good fabric scissors, not paper scissors. And we really do also encourage learners to make use of recycled or repurposed materials as much as possible as well. 1, because it's greater for the planet, and 2, because it keeps costs down for you as well. So I'm going to pause there just for a few moments just to see if anybody else has got any more questions about the equipment or the level 1 or level 2 course as well.
I was just going to add to that as well, Jo. It's probably worth highlighting that you won't need all of those things at the start of the course either. So some things, you know, some more materials will be introduced through the earlier workbooks. Obviously, if you're on the level 2, you're going to need a sewing machine pretty much from the get-go. But you're not going to need, when you look at the materials list, the actual breakdown of them for each course, you're not going to need everything for day 1. So you can spread your costs out and budget for that. And also to say that when you have access to your course, when we mentioned that you get a portal login, you have access to the entire course straight away. So you can look ahead and see what you're going to need, and then plan in. If you've got your learner's got a birthday coming up, for example, you can sort of anticipate that, oh, I need to get a set of fabric dyes for them. That could be a birthday present. Again, as home ed mums, we understand the importance of being able to budget and plan these things in as we go. Doesn't look like we've got any questions coming in, so should I crack on with the nitty-gritty stuff?
Go for it. Again, if anybody does have any questions at any point, just pop them up on the comments box and we will see them as well.
Awesome. So yeah, this isn't the fun stuff, but it is important to know this stuff. Costs and payments. You can enrol at whichever level you feel suits your learner, as we said. So you're the best person to decipher which level is going to be appropriate for your learner. But if you can't decide, or you want some advice and some guidance on it, please reach out to us and we can help you. The level 1 is priced at £480 in total, but you can pay in monthly instalments of £20 a month over 24 months. So it is available for you to pay as a one-off payment, or you can choose the payment plan option. The level 2 is priced at £600 in total, but again, you can pay in monthly instalments of £25 a month for 24 months. And this includes everything. So there's no sudden bill for the certificate at the end, like some providers choose to do. Everything is included within the cost. There's no hidden costs. Whichever payment option you choose with us, the total payment you pay stays the same. We don't believe it's fair to penalise people for taking a monthly option, and it doesn't make any sense for us to do that to our community. If you can't afford to pay a big chunk up front, why should you have to pay more overall? It makes no sense to us. So whatever option you choose, it remains the same. So we do have a fast track options available for these courses. So if your learner wants to complete within 12 months instead of 24, you can just choose that option at booking. And all that means is that your monthly payment is doubled. So again, you still pay the same amount overall. It's just that you finish the payments at the same time that you're anticipating your learner to finish as well. Here we need to make a key point. If you sign up to either the 12-month fast track or the standard 24-month pathway and need more time to complete, regardless of which pathway you've chosen, you do not pay any extra. You continue to access the course, the assessors, the support, everything you need for your learner to be able to complete the qualification. Effectively, once you've paid that either £480 or £600 and your payment plan has ended, we just cancel it off our end. The service is yours for as long as you need it in order for your learner to complete their qualification. We don't suddenly say, right, you've got 6 months to get your work in. We're there for you and your learner for as long as they need that additional support. I just see a couple of comments. Have I missed anything there, Jo, in terms of the comments?
Sharon would like to know, what grade is a level 1?
So we covered this slightly earlier in the PowerPoint. You don't get graded as such like a GCSE. So a level 1 compares to grade 1 to 3 at GCSE, or D to G if you're thinking old school grades. So it's not a grade 1, it's not a grade D, it sits within that bracket. So hopefully that helps. And in comparison, the level 2 sits within the bracket of a C to A star or a 4 to 9 at GCSE.
Yeah, so your learner won't have to worry about receiving a final grade as such. We work on a pass or not yet passed system, but it's comparable to those grades at GCSE.
Exactly that. So as I was saying, if you need longer for your learner to complete the qualification, you don't pay any extra. And by the same token, if your learner wants to complete early, so perhaps perhaps you didn't choose the fast track option, but actually they've whizzed through the work and they want to complete within the year, we can facilitate that as well. You just need to clear any remaining balance and then your certificate is issued after that point. Or if you'd rather carry on paying the payment plan on regular payments, you just continue to do that. And then when your payment plan is finished, then we send your certificate on to you. Chrissy has said, I'm very grateful for the payment plans. It makes the courses accessible for us. And this is it. I think I'm making an assumption here. Jo and I are both from working class roots. So making the courses as affordable as possible for as many families as possible was really key for us. I wouldn't be able to afford to pay up front for my son's education or courses either. So we get it. Sharon's asked, do colleges accept this as GCSE? Again, I think you might have joined us mid-wage, Sharon, but yes, we cannot guarantee that a college will accept it in place of a GCSE because everyone has their own admissions policy, and that can change depending on what area you live in, what course you're applying for, even the year that you're applying. So if they've suddenly got inundated with applications, they can move the boundaries. And likewise, if they're not getting enough people to apply, they can move the boundaries down again. What we do know is that when we surveyed our learners last year, 88% of our learners reported back that they were able to use their level 2 qualification with us in place of a GCSE when gaining access to college. Now, interestingly, the other 12% of learners said they weren't of an age yet to apply for college. So it weren't that they were rejected, they just weren't old enough yet to apply for college, so we didn't have the answers on that. What I always suggest, if you are looking to use it as a stepping stone to gain access, which is effectively what we've designed this to do, is just phone up the college with the full name of the qualification, with in mind what qualification your learner might want to go on to do, and just ask them, will you accept this in place of a GCSE? And I always highlight to tell them it's Ofqual regulated, so it is a formally recognised qualification and it's worth 15 credits. That's a key piece of information, and that's in reference to the level 2 in specifically. So I'm going to just change slide. Oh, before I do, any more questions on the payment side of things? Is that really clear how it all works? I mean, I think, like we said, it's really important that we make it as affordable as possible, and also know that We understand that learners can go through phases with things. They might be really into something 1 month and then not into it a couple of months later. By signing up, you are not obligated to the full payment plan. So we offer a cancellation policy. I think I'm going to cover this a little bit later in a couple of slides anyway, but you effectively can just pay for a couple of months, decide it's not for you for whatever reason, and cancel it with immediate effect with no further payments being taken. You're not obligated to the full cost of the course. So I'll just move on. So enrolment, when can you actually book? We've got bookings open right now for a September start. The bookings are open until the 31st of July, and that being because the first payment is scheduled to come out on the 1st of August. It's there are options if you want to. If you miss that booking system, we can enroll at a different point in the year. So we offer enrolment at January for a January start and an April start as well. So there's free enrolment points. However, if you want to start in between those, we can't set you up on a payment plan just because of the way the admin side of things works. You can set up any point in the year if you're paying up front. Obviously, that's a big ask of people. So it's open for September now. First payment is 1st of August, after which it generates your login, your learner's login for their course. Some point in August, you'll receive an email and a little induction pack with a free gift, just giving you some additional information. So you could actually start the course slightly ahead of time if you really wanted to. If you didn't want the summer off, I certainly will be taking the summer off. And then September, we do some induction sessions. So though we say the start date is September, the start date is whenever you want it to be. You'll have access to the course immediately. The start date we reference is our term times in terms of assessors being online and being able to support you. Like I said, there's no quibble cancellation policy. You don't have to give any justification for cancelling either. It might just be, I don't know, that your financial circumstances have changed. It might be your learner's not engaging. Your learner might be going to school or has found something different they want to do. Whatever the reason, we can cancel your payment plan with immediate effect. We just need 3 working days notice before the next payment is due to come out. And we also offer the option for you to come back in at any point and you just pick up from where you left off. So no obligation sign up, just by booking. If you chose to book today, no money is taken. The first payment is the 1st of August. If you change your mind between now and then, you can cancel it. Again, we're not going to question you or grill you about it. That's absolutely fine, and you're free to do that as well.
Yeah, so we'll just take a pause there and just wait if anybody has any more questions or any questions that you've suddenly thought of. If you're anything like me, as soon as you stop watching something, a question will come into your head. If that does happen to anybody, you can, of course, add any questions to this after our live, and we will pick them up as well, and we will respond to you. But we will just take a few seconds, see if anyone's got any questions on anything that we've already covered, whether it be anything to do with what course content is, whether it's to do with assessment, whether it's to do with the payment plans or the costings, or anything to do with enrolment. Please do drop those in the box for us as well. And then we are going to move on to the support that is available for you as well, because we think this is actually a really key aspect of what we do here at Technology Triumphs. We have, as I say, I'm a home educator myself, and Pip is as well, and we have had our learners on courses and in classes and things like that, and it can sometimes feel that as soon as people have your money, they're done with you. And you're left to your own devices and to figure it out all by yourself. And because we've experienced that elsewhere, we do not want to do that here at Technology Triumphs. So we have a number of ways in which we have support available to you. So one, all of our tutorials are pre-filmed and are all available on our YouTube channel. So if you want to dip in and see anything of what's covered throughout the course, you can hop onto our YouTube channel and you can view all of the tutorials for every course, and that's freely available there for you. And you can dip into that as many times as you like. You don't have only one viewing opportunity in your course to watch a video and then it's gone. You better hope that you've remembered what was in it. You can come back to that channel as much as possible. You also have a specific assigned assessor for your learner as well. So this is a real live creative person at the end of those submissions. It's a very hot topic at the moment with AI and all those kind of things. So we want to tell you categorically, we do not employ AI assessments for any of your workbooks at all. We don't like that idea. That's not what we're about. So there is somebody who is into creativity and into craft and into these subjects who assesses your learners' submissions, and they are deeply into the subjects that they assess for. So not only do we pride ourselves on having motivated and engaged learners, we have motivated and engaged assessors as well. So the energy is just really different to what you might have at school. But on that note, a lot of our team are qualified teachers. Pip herself is a qualified teacher, so you do have access to that level of support as well. And it may be that you want to talk to someone from teaching background, a qualified teacher, about something not specific to the course, but about your learners' education in general. And you can, of course, reach out to us about that as well. We really do pride ourselves on being there for our community as a whole, as home educators. So we're not just there solely for topics to do with your course. We're really there for everybody in the community. Of course, you will have social media support as well. So we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on Pinterest. We may at some point end up on TikTok as well. But if you are reaching out to us on social media, the chances are it's going to be me that picks it all up. And I am always more than happy to help anybody. So if you've got questions about enrolment, questions for any of the courses, questions about submissions, anything like that, you can always drop them on a PM to me through any of those channels. Or we also have our community Facebook groups. So these are closed community groups, and we have one for every course at every level as well. And you are welcome to join those, whether you are an enrolled learner, a past learner, if you are thinking about enrolling with us, if you think you might enroll with us in 2 years' time, or you just want to see what we're up to, you are welcome to join those closed community groups. And we do have a list of them up on our main page, but we will also make sure that we add the links to the 2 specific groups for the textiles course as well. So level 1 textiles and level 2. And those groups are a really great source of being able to talk to people who are currently doing the course, who have done the course, getting tips and tricks that people have learned along the way. People share bargains and things like that that they've found. And of course, you will have us online as well, picking up anything there. And you can just share things that your learner has made, because who doesn't love sharing what they've made with others and getting really great supportive comments and feedback from others as well. So those are the main ways in which we offer support. But of course, if you have any other way in which you need support, just let us know, and we will always do our absolute best for everybody.
Yeah, and just on that vein, so within the community groups, if we haven't mentioned it already, within the file section, you've got access to the sample workbooks as well. So if you want to just have a look and see if it's going to work, the format's going to work for your learner, or you're just not sure between a level 1 and 2, if you join those closed community groups, you'll have access to those free samples. You can compare them. You can even have a go at them. And even if you don't want to sign up to the course, you just want some free content, there's some sitting there for you. Quite handy, really. What was the other thing I was going to say? It was in relation to the ways that we support you. So yes, so something that we've been doing, or I've particularly been doing a lot recently, when a learner has a particular struggle and they're really, they're focused on a particular area with their work, and it's a very specific struggle to their project, and they just need a bit of one-to-one interaction with a teacher or an assessor, then if we can fit it into a schedule, we make time. So I have been known to run Zoom sessions occasionally when I can't access, I'm unable to help more within an email, and it needs that sort of more in-depth conversation. Sorry, I glitched there, didn't I? When it needs a bit more in-depth than an email, then I'm happy to provide that, so long as I can fit it into that particular week. So there's that as an option as well.
Yeah, and there's no additional cost to that.
No, yeah, that's
put that out there as well.
I'll do it.
Covered, all covered.
Yeah. We're not trying to make money off of the back of it. No, it's not about that. I just saw Chris's. comment about
having a little glitch there as well, Pip. So I'll just there we go. She's back.
Just about. It was just to say that Chris has obviously acknowledged how quick you are. I'm assuming it's yourself, Jo, on the DMs at responding. We don't like to leave people hanging. So although we might be involved with our own children in their home educating journey, we are constantly monitoring in between. And we have that flexibility with the way that we've built the provisions that we can just constantly be monitoring. And hopefully, even if it's late at night, you might get a response. It just depends when we're online and dealing with those particular inquiries as well. So I'm just going to go to the next slide. So where can you get more info? Obviously, Jo mentioned the community groups. I would definitely recommend that your first port of call in order to get a bit more insight into how the courses look and how they're running, and also gain access to those sample materials, and the information packs are in there as well. I would recommend you visit our website, and again, not just to get more detail, in-depth information about how we started and how it all works, but there are some free provisions on there as well. So even if you think actually it's not the right time for my learner, or I can't afford it at the moment, have a look on there. And it's not just creative stuff. We are always looking for ways that we can help the community that we are a part of, because we know that we are kind of forgotten and there's no funding available for us and all the rest of it. So we want to do whatever we can to sort of help in any way that we can. So if you go to the current courses section, as well as seeing all of the courses that we provide towards these formal qualifications, there are some free provisions in there that include maths work. We've got some literacy coming soon because Jo's going to be running a book club. She's great at it. The kids love it. And also we've got some creativity and mental well-being. I've got my free art lessons that we run every Monday. So there's loads on there and it's continually growing. So just it's worth just popping on there every now and then to see what free content there is, and letting other families know that it's there as well. So if you want to book one of our formal courses, like I said, by booking, you're not obligating yourself to a penny. If you change your mind between now and the 1st of August, just drop us an email and we'll cancel it off for you, no questions asked. So if you're like me and I'm thinking, right, I need to get ahead of the game and knock some things off my to-do list, then you can book and know that you've got a provision set up for your learner for September. And it's through our GDPR compliant, is a third-party booking system, Class for Kids. You might already be set up on there because they are a national program that used for lots of clubs and activities anyway. And then also follow us on social media. Don't just like the page, follow the page, so that when new things like this come up, when we're launching new free provisions, for example, you're being kept up to date with those changes and the extra stuff that we're doing for the community as well. Which I think that's it. Jo mentioned, obviously, we're on other social media, so feel free to follow us on there. Pinterest is a great one if you're on the courses, because we help by gathering some visual research that might help your learners on the courses. Instagram is a more behind the scenes look, which it's going to grow a little bit more over the few months, looking at how we run in the background, even a little bit how we are home editing ourselves. And Jo and I have got very different styles, because the beauty of home ed is that there's no right or wrong and we can do it our own way. So yeah, do give us a follow on there if you feel like it. But that was it. I think that's pretty much everything, isn't it, Jo?
Yeah, that sounds like everything. We're going to give it just a couple of minutes just in case anybody has got any questions or any comments. Like I say, if anything comes to mind as soon as we've finished and you suddenly go, oh, I should have asked about this, just either put it in the comments for the video, send it to me on PM, or you can email us as well. So it's technologytriumphs@outlook.com. And Chrissy has said, that was brilliant. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining us, everybody that has. We hope we have answered all of your questions. Again, if anything does come up and you want to reach out to us, ask us any question, whether it be about this course, any of our other courses. So we've got cookery, cake decorating, mixed media, textiles, and launching in September, photography as well, and an entry-level creative craft as well. So you might suddenly think, oh, there's more. I've got questions about that one as well. So reach out to us and let us know. We are always more than happy to help. But thank you for joining us today. Apologies for the glitching and our slight fumbling over words and things like that. It's very hot. It's very hot doing these things. So I hope you are all staying safe in this humidity.
It's not fun. And then just to say as well, we are live again tomorrow for our level 1 and 2 mixed media, which tends to cause a lot of confusion with people. Basically, if you've got a learner that's interested in arts and crafts, that might be a great course for them, because it just means that we can explore any medium of our choosing. So we're learning about the design circle, learning some art basics, but learners are complete freedom as to what areas they explore. So we're going to be talking about that, how that looks, and some of the things that your learners would learn and create. So again, if that's of any interest of you, maybe we'll see you tomorrow. If you're interested in some of those other subjects that Jo just mentioned, we've already run a load of live events, so just check out our past live events as well. If you know of families that would be interested in this but they're not on Facebook, we are uploading them to YouTube as well. So again, have a look at our YouTube channel. Loads of free content, loads of tutorials on lots of different things, and freely accessible, but also these live events are on there as well. But yeah, any questions? I can't see any questions come in. I hope that means
any come in, but of course we will pick them up afterwards.
Yes.
And you can watch us back retrospectively, as Pip said, either via Facebook or it'll be uploaded to YouTube as well. But thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you have a lovely evening.
See you later.